Cause it's your job, and guess what? Them kids ain't asked to be here. No, they didn't. No. Yeah, they ain't asked to be here, you feel me? So emotionally, you gotta have that characteristic to be able to express love, empathy, and sensitivity to your kids, to your child, or whoever you watching, taking care of. You feel me? So when I say that, now this refers to active affection, compassion, and warmth and sympathy. People who fully relate to and can explain and feel what a child feels, thinks, and goes through. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to be relatable. You got to know what's going on right now in the world. You got to know, like, man, these kids out here on social media, like, you gotta be able to connect with them. You know what I'm saying? To sympathize with them and have compassion with them. You know what I mean? You got to be able to have some type of common interest. You people who relate to a child would express positive regard and feeling and physical touching. Man, it say people who relate to a child would express positive regard and feeling and physical touching. People who are understanding of children in their life situation. Because sometimes kids have adverse childhood experiences. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you'll be surprised kids don't get hugs. I know some kids right now ain't never got a hug whole time they been in foster care. They been in foster care their whole life. I know kids live with foster parents. Foster parents don't hug their foster kids. They don't express no love, no empathy. They getting that check. You know what I'm saying? They making sure they got that bed filled. So it's your job to do what you got to do to make sure that your kid getting love expressed to them, getting empathy and sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be able to know that that is a basic need for kids, man. Love and compassion. It's a big part of their development. And if they don't get that, you know what I mean, that nourishment in those stages of development, then you doing major harm to their emotional development and their character and when they become an adult. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what's going on. It's character building. And when a child don't get love expressed, you know what I mean, to them, or they don't feel love, then how are they gonna know how to love if they never had love expressed to them? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Cause you gotta be positively attached to your kids. You gotta be positively attached to the child. This is an emotional characteristic. If you're not positively attached to your child, then more than likely you probably negatively. That child or that kid or whoever looking up, they don't see you in no positive light. I'm talking about people who act on behalf. I'm talking about, no, this refers to a strong attachment that places a child's interest above all else. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's about what's in the best interest of the kids when you in a caregiver's role or when you're a parent. You have to be thinking in regard to what's in the best interest of those kids. People who act on behalf of a child because of closeness and identity the person feels for the child, you know what I mean? They positively align, they positively attached because people who order their lives according to what is best for the children because the special connection and attachment that exists between them allows them to. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you positively attach to your child. People who closeness with a child exceeds other relationships. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you positively attach to your child. When you not, you're gonna be closer to these random people and you ain't gonna have no relationship with your kids. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you don't build that rapport, that positive attachment with your child. You lose your connection with your child at risk forever. You know what I'm saying? Especially in their developing ages. When they developing, you know what I'm saying, from 0 to 7. Yeah, people who are properly attached to a child. I ain't talking about no pedophiles, no, you know what I mean, no weirdos out here. No, 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 no. I'm talking about people who are properly attached to a child. You feel me? That means that they have the emotional characteristic to be protective because you have to be able to recognize that child emotions. You know what that child feeling. You got to be able to recognize when that child is in danger, but they not saying nothing. That means that you positively attached, that you emotionally aligned with that child, with your kids. That's your job. And that's an emotional characteristic that's going to increase your protective capacities as a parent or as a caregiver. Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? Still going in on it. You know what I mean? You got to be aligned and supportive to your kids, to your child, or whoever you supervising or monitoring. Now, this refers to actual, observable, sustaining, encouraging, and maintaining a child's psychological, physical, and social well-being. You know what I mean? You got to be in line. I'm talking about people who spend considerable time with a child filled with positive regard, not because they got to. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about people who take action to confirm that children are encouraged and reassured. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about people that go above and beyond. I'm talking about people that just want to do it because it gives them self-gratification, not because somebody's telling them to do it. You know what I mean? You have to be aligned and supportive. I'm talking about people who like give the child what they need because they know that it's in their best interest and it's going to help them achieve their goals. You feel me? I'm talking about people who take an obvious stand on behalf of a child. You feel me? I'm talking about children and they ain't got nobody advocating for them. But somebody that's aligned and supports that child, then they become the voice for that child. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of kids out here that's abandoned, that's neglected, that ain't got nobody speaking up for them, that just don't know. You feel me? But if you are someone that's aligned and supportive to the child, then that's a stand that you take. And obvious, I ain't talking about in the back in the cut. I'm talking about on Front Street. I'm talking about in the courthouse. I'm talking about at the schools. I'm talking about wherever is needed on behalf of the child. This characteristic, this is an emotional characteristic, you know what I mean, that people that are possessed, that are protective of their kids possess. They are aligned and they support their kids. They advocate for their kids. They spend considerable time, you know what I mean, with their kids. They take action just to confirm that they encourage and that they self-esteem, that they reassured. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means to be aligned and supportive to your child, your kids, or whoever it is, you know what I'm saying, that you caregiving for. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And people who think strongly of themselves as closely related to or associated with a child, they know what role they play in that child's life. That is somebody that's aligned and supports that child. People who think that they are highly connected to a child and therefore responsible for a child's well-being and safety. This is the person that's aligned and supportive of the child. You know what I'm saying? Because they take ownership, they take responsibility for the well-being. When that child is feeling emotionally disturbed, then they feeling emotionally disturbed. You know what I mean? Because they taking on the responsibility of that child's well-being and safety. So they ain't gonna be straight to that child straight. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna feel safe until that child safe. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be, you know, the characteristic that you have. But if you don't, you need to get it. You need to get a line. And you need to start supporting your kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about people who consider their relationship with a child as the highest priority. I ain't talking about you putting your boyfriend, your paramour, your babe. I ain't talking about that. I say the highest priority. The highest are the highest. Because what? It's your job. Because your kids need you to protect and provide for them. They need you. It's your job. So that makes it the highest priority. When you have somebody dependent on you, and their life is literally dependent on you fulfilling your role to provide care for them. Yeah, that's what it means when you align and support of that child, when you can recognize that. People who consider their relationship with a child as the highest priority. Yeah, they ain't out here, you know what I'm saying, putting these men before they kid, or putting these females before they kids, or you know what I mean, going out before they, you know what I'm saying, before they tuck their kids in. They ain't checking up on their kids. You not aligned. You out here missing your kids' baseball games, basketball games. They got plays in school, but you ain't going. You ain't supporting your child. Your child need new basketball shoes, or your child need an instrument for the band. You know what I'm saying? You ain't supporting your kids. Your kids need new clothes. You know what I mean? You ain't aligned. You ain't supportive. You ain't got the capacity to be a caregiver. You ask me. You know what I'm saying? Because your emotions is off. You emotionally cognitive. Like you got some cognitive dissonance going on. You know what I'm saying? You emotionally disturbed. You need to go to counseling and you need to go to parenting classes. For real. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Cause like if you ain't out here displaying concerns for your kids, for your child, you know what I mean? Like, what's your problem? What's your problem? So people who show compassion through sheltering and soothing the child, they get it. They get it because they recognize that children need compassion. Children need to be expressed love too. You know what I'm saying? Because the hate you give little infants, that's everyone. You feel me? Thug life. The hate you give little infants, everyone. Express love and compassion and soothe your child when they crying. You know what I mean? Because what happens when you don't? Then they go in and find ways when they get up age to self-soothe. You know what I'm saying? So it's your responsibility to soothe your child, to show compassion. People who calm and pacify and appease a child, they align, man. They supportive of that child's emotional development. They get it. I hope you get it. I hope you align and you supportive of your child. You know what I'm saying? I hope you protect it. I hope you got the capacity to be protective. I'm talking about people who physically take action or provide physical responses to assure a child, you know what I mean, that they generate security. Like for real, like they go out their way, they stay a little extra time, you know what I'm saying? They ain't just leaving the school without making sure that somebody coming to pick that child up because they align, they support that child. I'm not talking about nobody that don't like show up when it's time to show up. I'm not talking about somebody that's leaving, you know what I mean, when it's time for them to step up. No, man. You're not supportive, man. You're not aligned, man. I'm not talking about nobody that just sitting there watching their little boy cry in the corner without going there and seeing what's wrong with them. Man, they need to lock you up, man. Like for real, and throw away the key. If you're not gonna take your job serious as a parent, then you should not be having sex. If you ask me, but that's just my personal opinion. But if you're going to be out here taking those, at least take protective measures and don't bring children into the world if you don't want to be a responsible parent. You know, because the world got too many social problems. And it got me out here making videos to raise awareness on the knowledge of these protective capacities because I feel the heat of how it gets played out in the neighborhood, in the community. Yeah, these adverse childhood experiences that these young people go through, it get played out in their adult lives. So maybe you can sit down and you can reflect on your life, and you know what I'm saying, and just be real with yourself and have an honest conversation with yourself and really analyze yourself and see if you have these characteristics, these behavior characteristics, these cognitive characteristics, these emotional characteristics. Do you have them? Are you in possession of these characteristics? Because these are the characteristics, these are the values that make you have to be protected, be a protective parent. You can't be out here leading your child, leading young people into harm's way. You know what I'm saying? You have to be at the best of your ability, full capacity, on go, alert, aware, you know what I mean, knowledgeable of your protective capacity so that you can fulfill your role and that you can, you know what I'm saying, yeah, guide that child on to who they destined to be. So with that being said, man, my name is Sarah Blackburn. I hope y'all enjoyed the presentation. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit, but I hope y'all enjoyed the presentation. And I really hope you learned something on how to be a protective parent. For real.